When people think about search and rescue, they don't typically think of Illinois as the hotbed of the cutting edge of search and rescue. They might think of Colorado or California, or maybe the Coast Guard as some of the biggest areas where search and rescue is going to be hot. But in all fairness, search and rescue is really a complicated subject that is extremely important in all areas of society and all areas of the country. It's really important that that service function is someone is there to meet that. In Illinois, I would say, at least in the northern parts of our state, the biggest areas, the biggest three areas that we focus on are three basic types of subjects. One would be the elderly who may be suffering from some form of dementia, whether it be Alzheimer's or some of the other similar conditions. Those are obviously terrifying conditions. The second would be typically the youth, but anybody who might be affected by any of the developmental challenges, such as autism, being on the autism spectrum, any of those type of subjects, they are more vulnerable than the average. So that's a typical area that we focus on. And then the third would be members of just the society who are more vulnerable in terms of feeling depression and anxiety, and people who may want to harm themselves. Those are three areas, regardless of what part of the country you're in, what part of the world. All three of those things can affect anybody in society. So it's really important that every place has those resources to put people in the field and help do those searches. I have actually personally been touched by all three of those conditions. We've had personal, close family members who have suffered from dementia, and as mentioned, that is a terrifying condition. If your loved one goes missing and they have an altered mental state where they are living in a different place or at a different time, it makes it extremely difficult to go find someone who's in that state. Same for autism. We've had several families, friends who have autism, and we know that those types of conditions can cause them to be more vulnerable than other comparable people of that same age. And then, of course, depression. I think, as I touched on, I think everybody has a bout of sadness here and there, but deep depression is a serious problem, and it's something that's unfortunately fairly common in our society. So it's something that I know if it was me, I would want someone to search for my loved ones, and that's part of why we do what we do. We want to give back, we want to contribute, we want people to understand that there are resources out there to try and help. One of the big things that we do is that we augment and we help law enforcement, fire departments. They're the ones who are out there full time and doing the job all the time. But if there's a search that requires people to go out in the woods, in the fields, just to put extra feet and extra eyes on the ground to look for people, that's where we come in. We are specially trained to particularly look in wilderness areas, but also in suburban and normal urban type conditions. So we do 100% work with law enforcement and the local authorities. We do not self-deploy. We only come when we are requested. That's why we try and work so closely with the police and sheriff and fire department. One of the big things that we do is we study lost person behavior, which is an ongoing database that looks at different behaviors of people depending on how they're physically set up, their age, their mental age, their mental conditions, and that helps narrow down our search pattern. If we were to go out this looking for people in a completely unscientific way, we would be much less efficient at trying to find people. We also work closely with several canine teams to try and use them as excellent resources. If they can be brought in early enough, the canines are so much better at trying to track people, and it's really important that we work with them to make their jobs as easy as possible to try and find people's loved ones. So thanks for listening. Basically just really want to get out there that we are out here trying to help to find people when people go missing, and that we're doing it from our heart. We do this, we don't get paid, we do this because it's something that we feel like we have to do. So thanks.